Hey gang, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to Chad's Cards. This is the series where we're going to go over position by position and determine who we should be perhaps considering buying for the long term and who would be more of an intermediate term buy, sell, flip, all that kind of stuff, and who maybe we should just leave for down the road. Today we're doing first baseman, and the theory behind this, and this is the way I collect, and everyone does it different. There's no right or wrong answer. Just the object is to have some fun. And what I do is I kind of separate guys out into people who are maybe on a Hall of Fame track, who is off that track and should be left for more speculative things, and then who maybe I'm not that interested in, but I'll wind up with them in a complete set anyway. So the people that I have highlighted in green are people that are likely to make the Hall of Fame. They've got an established track record. They put up the necessary WAR, and WAR is that's kind of the first criteria I use for determining whether or not you're going to be considered for the Hall of Fame. So by no means do I know what goes through the mind of a Hall of Fame voter or anything like that. But I do kind of try and guess, if I'm buying a card, how much do I want to put into it? I don't want to spend a couple $100s on someone who's going to be not in consideration for the Hall, and then they just kind of fade away and their card prices get roundly beaten up as well. So if someone's on the track, I will focus a little bit more on collecting them and maybe pick up a high grade example. And if they're off the track, then doesn't mean they're not collectible. I have a pretty unhealthy obsession with Matt Olson cards. You can get some really fun cards for cheap. You're not going to get the low number Hall of Fame stuff or whatever. Those are pretty expensive cards. But if you get a lower number parallels or whatever of some of these guys that are not highlighted, and who says that they can't become a highlight at some point? That can certainly happen as well. So. But you can pick up some fun cards, and they're absolutely collectible. No right or wrong answers here. So anyways, we start with Freddie Freeman. This is your number one first baseman by WAR for the year. And I went over my top 20 players, and this is an absolute buy. He is, and I'll just drag this over a little bit, age 31, accumulated 38 WAR, and if you get roughly to that 55 or 60 number, that's the average WAR for first baseman. So this is what we're shooting for. So by age 35, looking at Pujols, Cabrera, Votto, these guys dropped off, and they've been actually kind of negative value players since age 35. So we're going to run these guys out to 35. What do you need to do on an average basis to get to that 60 WAR number by age 35? And Freddie Freeman, 31 years old, he has accumulated 38 WAR, and he needs to average 5.5 WAR over the next few years. Now, nothing says he can't put up positive WAR age 36, 37, 38 if he wants to keep going. But this is what he would need to do to age 35. So it doesn't have an MVP, and I imagine this column will change in the very near future. So his rookie card is the 2011 Update Series rookie. Last week, when I did the top 20 position players overall, this was a $135 card, and I said, this should probably be in that 180, 190 area like Acuna and Soto. And with the playoffs and the MVP chatter, this thing has absolutely gone nuts. And so there was a sale for $300 recently, but $250 is kind of where this is settled in. So I absolutely recommend having a Freddie Freeman rookie card in your collection, but I don't know that I would do it now. I'd let these prices settle back in, and if it can get back into that 150, 160, 170 area, during the off season, maybe that's when you want to start, looking hard at that, or just buy an ungraded example, something that looks nice to have it in your collection, depending on what you want to go for. So, but yeah, absolutely have a Freddie Freeman. He is on track. There's some work to be done. He needs to produce at a high level for the next few years, but it's certainly in the realm of possibility here. Jose Abreu, just to highlight some of these guys that are highlight the guys that aren't highlighted. How about that? The reason that they're not highlighted. So Jose Abreu, he's 33 years old. He's accumulated 20 WAR to get to that 60 area over the next couple of years. Again, he could be Ortiz and play till 40 and be super productive, but right now I'm not seeing it. I certainly don't like the price where he's being priced in as guys that are kind of on track. He should probably be a lower card here. This is a card that you can get for $20-$30 forever, and recently just shot up to the kind of that 110, 120 area. So it's starting to come off a little bit, and I'd want to wait for a lower price. If he does not get into the Hall, which I think is a likelihood here, these prices will drop down way down. I mean, you could see them for, again, 10, 15, $20, in a few years. So if you're willing to wait, you'll get a better price right now. So I would not speculate at this price right here. Paul Goldschmidt, 2011 Update Series, 33 years old, has accumulated 41 WAR. So he's kind of like Freddie Freeman here. A little bit older, a little bit more WAR, got a little bit more to do here. So he's going to have to age gracefully. But his cards are also kind of pricing that in right now. So it's like, now there's a chance. I sure like Goldschmidt, but he doesn't have the MVP accolades or anything like that, which will kind of help him get over the top here. And for $50-$80, it's like, for a PSA 10, not going to hurt you too much, and I think it's probably worth the speculation. It seems like he's trading at that lower end of the valuation. There's a few sales here, but it's starting to drop off just a little bit. So if you can get it towards the lower end of that, then I think that is a worthwhile pickup. Dominic Smith, 2018, I didn't really find any graded examples at all. Very recent card, and he kind of came on the scene, so those aren't coming back yet because PSA takes a while to turn those around. 25 years old, so this is really a function of being young. And so the younger that you are, the more starter you have, the less WAR you need to accumulate on an annual basis to get to that number here. So he's kind of in this speculation with Freddie Freeman. So in a couple of years, if he's able to maintain this pace, if he has a few 5 or 6 WAR seasons and kind of keeps it going here, then I would expect that card to be upwards of the $60, $80, $100 area here. So if you're able to find them and speculate, it is pretty cheap entertainment, and I think that is something that would be of interest. So you look at his BABIP was pretty high this year. His isolated power, again, pretty elevated. So I would expect regression next year based on some of these metrics here. And that's where I would say, if you're getting him extremely cheap, this is kind of a speculation thing, but technically he's sort of on track right now. So we'll see how it plays, and if you're able to get it, I wouldn't spend 80 to 100 on it. That's for darn sure. But if you're able to get them for 10 or 15, that's part of the fun of this thing. So Luke Voigt, 2017 update series, 29 years old. He's got a long road. He's got a long ways to go. He's going to have to play at a very high level for a long time. And so these cards at this price, they don't make a lot of sense to me. The card that makes the most sense to me here, Cody Bellinger. He's well on track. Of all the guys on here that aren't already in, I mean, this is the one that has the if he's able to keep it going. I mean, Freddie Freeman's a lot closer, but Cody Bellinger has is putting up a ton of WAR at an early age, and he has an MVP under his belt here. And so this is absolutely a Hall of Fame track. Now, injuries and things of that nature could occur, but barring that, definite Hall of Fame track here. So 27 update series. If he's able to maintain that 4 or 5 WAR for a long period of time, I imagine there'll be seasons where he has 6 or 7, and then as he gets closer to that 35, maybe he drops off into 2 or 3 or something like that, and then could be a flat player after that. But as long as he does this, this $200 price makes a lot of sense. Now this was like a $350 card for a while, and it's really come back. So take advantage of the dip in prices to pick up a nice example if you are so inclined. Anthony Rizzo, 31 years old, 30 WAR. Again, Hall of Very Good type player. Asking a lot for his cards here, kind of in that Luke Voigt area here. The 2011 update series, all those prices are going to be high because of some guy named Trout or something like that. But again, I don't think I would pay that for Anthony Rizzo, and I've got some Rizzo cards. I certainly I like them, but I'm not going to pay a premium for it. Again, not making, if you don't make the Hall, if you're not even in the conversation, then it's tough to stay relevant, and it's tough to keep that demand up. And so one that I wouldn't speculate a ton on. Flores, Dozier, Walker, Matt Olson. Could only find a chrome version of his. And sure, I mean, real outside chance here. He strikes out a ton, but he hits a lot of bombs. So maybe he hits the 500 home run number. Who knows? There's a long ways to go. He's just 26 years old, and he's already put up 10 WAR. So he's had a couple of nice seasons here. And you need to see more out of it. So this year was not a good year for him. So if he can bounce back next year, he could be Freddie Freeman, or he could be Chris Davis, K-Ris Davis. So who knows where that leads. So like I said, I like collecting his cards, and at his prices, you can sure get some cool looking stuff. And I'm sure not trying to dismiss the players that are in the white and not highlighted here. So Joey Votto's got an interesting case here. So he's being priced in at a guy who's on the fence here. And I think he may be a little bit more on the fence, but again, dropping off at age 35. He's 37 years old. He's accumulated 56 WAR, and he's got an MVP. So there's going to be a case made for him, and I think that this prices should be a little bit higher due to that. So maybe he should be in that 130, 150 area. So there's meat on the bone here for Mr. Joey Votto. So these other guys, they're not being priced too expensively because real outside chance of that one. So of anything happening there. So Pete Alonso came on like gangbusters last year, and this year not so much. So he's 25 years old. He's accumulated 5 WAR. So he's young, and this is this projection is mostly a function of being young. So he benefits from that. But he needs to have a couple of really nice seasons. If he starts putting up a bunch of 3-4 WAR seasons, and this number is going to continue to grow, the average needed by age 35. So if he can get back on track next year and put up like a nice 5 or 6 WAR season, then I'll be more interested. Well, I was pretty interested last year, kind of stuff anyways, and it just hasn't worked out. His PSA 10s were what 100, $120, and they've really dropped. So for speculation purposes, now's a pretty decent time to buy Pete Alonso. So not saying you're going to get a huge return on it, because if he kind of stays at that, what he did this year, or maybe just a little bit better at 3-4 WAR player, then this is what that card is probably worth, maybe a touch more. But if he kind of gets back to form and hits 40, 45 home runs and bats 270, then this card should be worth a lot more. So this price is interesting right now. So Carlos Santana, I've got his card, and I just really like Carlos Santana. So not much reason for that. I don't expect much out of it. 34 years old, 21 WAR, not going anywhere, but I sure have a lot of respect for the guy. So Vladimir Guerrero on the track, but mostly this is because he's age 21 playing in the majors. And so to get to that 60 WAR over 15 years is going to be a low number here. So he hasn't done much so far, and I think that price is too high. And this is for the Series 2 note number. So don't get I think the Chrome update, or excuse me, the regular update one where it's another true rookie of his. Most people consider the no number. But the update series is going to have a true rookie, not a rookie debut in it as well. So this one has a little scarcity built into it, but unless he really gets going, then that price isn't justified. So again, we'll see where he's at next year, and I don't know that I would speculate at this time. Evan White, again, function of youth, and I don't know that he has much out there. I couldn't really find anything. Pujols and Miggy Cabrera. Pujols, I mean, this is an elite player. He's in 3 MVPs, and his prices reflect that. So that 2001. He's got a bunch of different options there. 2001, he had a late edition. He's got an update. And there's chromes and all that kind of stuff. So there's a few rookie cards out there. So, but he banked most of this WAR by age 35 and hasn't done much in the 5 years since from a WAR perspective. So I mean, just provides entertainment and fan favorite and all that kind of good stuff. But again, his prices reflect them. This is Mike Trout level, and these are elite players, and they deserve that. One that is interesting probably gets in 70 WAR, a couple of MVPs, batting, triple crown, or really close to it at least. 2000 traded, $270 for the paper. You look at guys that right now that are tracking for Hall of Fame, $400. Those are $400 or $500 cards, and I think maybe Miggy should be there. So this is one that's super interesting, and I think just because he's over the past few years hasn't really performed up to his standards, he's being a little bit forgotten about. But I would absolutely be taking a very strong look at a Miggy if you do not have one, because when he retires, Hall Talk is going to start, and that is going to create demand as there's more talk about that. So you just need chatter. So, and there's going to be a lot of that around Miggy, and I think that elevates his prices here. So Rhys Hoskins not quite getting it done. Edward Encarnacion has been a really good player for a long time. He's 37 years old with 33 WAR. He's got a lot to do over the next few years if that's going to happen. So I think his prices, again, Hall of very good players, those prices are just going to sink when they're done. So I only found one example of a PSA 10. It looked like it was a Chrome dual card or something. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anything more than $10-$20, I wouldn't be doing it unless you just really like Edward Encarnacion and you have some fun with it. Then you'll get your money back in enjoyment terms. So CJ Chrome, not a lot of information surrounding him. So Eric Hosmer, update series. So again, update series. You're going to play premium for those just because of the set in general here. But he's 30 years old, 10 WAR, not seeing much there. So $50, I don't know, $40-$50 if you're a Hosmer fan, go nuts here. So Daniel Murphy, Howie Kendrick, Brandon Belt, all kind of in the same boat here, where they've had really nice careers. I mean, geez, been fun players to watch. Daniel Murphy had some pretty incredible seasons, but they're just the card prices are reflecting the long-term prospects for those players at this stage in the game here. And Kevin Cron, not much. You can get those cards ridiculously cheap. So a guy that doesn't have a lot of information yet is Ryan Mountcastle. So again, this average is mostly due to youth. He doesn't have a card yet, but this is a card that I'm going to look strongly. He's been a top prospect for a while. He's an Oriole, so who knows what you get out of it, but he has been a top prospect. He came up mashing. Looked pretty good in his limited time, and so I think speculation. I would speculate hard on this one. So let's just recap a little bit here. Speculate on Mountcastle, Evan White. Yeah, I don't know. Do what you want to do on that one. I think Vlad is a little too much. Pete Alonso's probably a buy at this level if you can find it around in there. I think Joey Votto is undervalued. Bellinger is probably a little undervalued. But he's kind of selling in his price, so it'll vacillate around here for a while. And if he has a really off season this year, if he does well next year, then that's going to go back up to a $250 card. Dom Smith is probably really, really worth it. I don't know if you can find graded, but pick up some of the singles here. Paul Goldschmidt, lower end of that range, do something just in case. But I do like him, but he's got to perform at a high level at a time where that's not likely for first baseman to do that. But yeah, there's always exceptions on that one. Breo too much, and Freddie Freeman really rocketed up lately. Wait till the playoffs or an LVP. Wait till the offseason, and maybe you can get him at a little better price. So thanks for checking it out, guys. Have a great day.